Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Procrastinated Podcast. I'm your host, Matthew B. Stein. Thank you so much for joining me for the last episode of me as a college student. Let's get into it. So it's my last week as a college student. Doesn't mean I have any schoolwork left to do, luckily, but this weekend I do graduate from college and my schooling career ends for the time being. Now, I wanted this episode to be somewhat extravagant or at least special in the fact that it is my last episode as a college student, but it's not going to pan out that way, and we're going to go a little bit of a different style and just go with a quick monologue, and I'm going to do my best to review my college experience, not in full, but in what feels right, I guess we'll say. Hopefully next week I can follow this up with the special episode that I have planned in my head that involves my roommates. And for those of you that don't know, I live with 6 girls, and they are all different and likable and lovable in their own way, so I want to get them incorporated and see each of their different opinions with most likely to challenge of sorts. So since we last talked, I was in a great position for a job position that seemed like it was about perfect for me, and everything was falling together very well. I was going to be working right under my mentor. I was going to be in the position I wanted to be in exactly on the dot. I will say that it has not panned out quite as beautifully as I had hoped. The interview did go well as I had thought, but there were other people that had qualified or more qualified for the position that had applied, so it's only fair or makes sense that I was beat out for the position. I will say, though, in my anger and upsetness from not getting the position, your boy made a series of irrational decisions. I hit my door very hard, twice, and I was just very perturbed and angry. And when I did that, a piece of the little door frame, like a thin piece of wood from the top, fell off. And as I walked out of my door to go on a long bike ride to cool my nerves, calm down, I saw the piece of wood on the ground and said, that looks snappable. I then proceeded to snap it over the basement handrail, and it snapped very well. Let me tell you, that first snap, very satisfying. It was clean, crisp, just a nice snap. Then I proceeded to come out here into the garage where the bikes are, and I still had the stick in my hand. And I got a bit greedy, we'll say. I decided to take the stick once more, now a smaller stick, and snap it against this wall over here. This corner right here, this little number. Yeah. I decided to attempt to snap it right there on that corner once more, and I got what I deserved, and the wood fought back and hit me back, and I injured my right hand. I'm not going to give you too much of a close-up, but there's a glimpse of it. It's healing pretty well. I've been a bad patient and haven't gone to the doctor or to the CVS to get my antibiotics, which have been waiting for me about 3 days, so I don't know what I'm doing. I'm only harming myself. But that happened recently, so that is kind of, to me, the outlook that I have, how should I say this? We'll say that's the start of a rough outlook for the immediate future of my life after school. However, I applied to a new position within the company, a social media position, which I don't love doing social media and doing small edits and things like that. But I realized that my best friend from high school is going to be in Chicago. I'm still going to be working in the same company with the same people. I'm still going to be in Chicago regardless and doing some traveling. So there's so many reasons to say yes. It's not the ideal position, but it's still hard for me to be upset. I'm still hopefully going to be in a lovely place, but we'll still see. You don't have a yes until you have a yes. I'm taking that mindset on much stronger this time than with the other position. So now with college, because I kind of just had a quick recap of what we talked about in last week's episode. Now in college in general, it's coming to an end. It's like there. Yesterday or 2 days ago, my roommates and I went on a pedal bar through downtown. It was honestly so much fun. All of my best friends were there, and it was just a good like kind of send off for the year. But it's weird. Despite having that and having like it be finals week and people finishing up finals and other students moving out and all of these things, it doesn't really feel like graduating hasn't hit me. And I don't know if that's just because like I'm in like the denial state, or if I'm just ready to be out of here, or if it's a mixture of all of the three, or I just haven't realized my emotions yet, or I just haven't given myself the time to get sad about it yet. I'm not totally sure, but as of right now, I'm not really that cut up about the end. And it's an odd feeling because I feel like there's a general sadness around me for sure, whether it's from my roommates or it's from the other people that are around or whoever. Everybody knows it's coming to an end, and it's never good to see things that you enjoy come to an end. That's never a good feeling or something you look forward to, but it's something that inevitably has to happen. Things have to go on. Things have to move on. You have to take a step forward or a step back or a step just into a different lane. Things have to change eventually. And I think that's why I'm in this sort of a denial / okay state with it, because when I graduated from high school, it was a very dramatic end, and I was heartbroken, and I was all of these things, and so much pain that I was just so ready to get out of there and get out of the high school environment and move on with my life. Now I'm graduating college, and I'm not in a same position. I'm not heartbroken. I'm not sad. I'm not down and out and all of these things. I mean, I injured myself, which is a down, but I'm not out. I'm not actively hurting. So it's just a different mindset. But despite not being hurt and aching and paining during this time, I still feel ready for the next chapter. Unfortunately, unlike high school, it's not as defined. I'm not just thinking I'm going to school, I'm going to college, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to graduate, and I'm going to get on from my life there. I'm now on the getting on from my life there part, and not having that ground underneath you of knowing what's coming next is very scary, yet kind of enjoyable, because I think I've mentioned this on the podcast before, that I've seen videos on the internet of like motivational speakers or whatever you want to call them, maybe they're internet faux sellers, whatever, I don't know what you want to call them, but they mentioned the idea of being lost or being in the hunt. I'm a 21-year-old man. I'm young. I have a potentially promising career ahead of me. I'm in that position where it's good to be a young person. You know, I have all of my options in front of me. I haven't committed to any direction. So I'm in a position that I may not be in for another while. And I think that's something that should be cherished. And I've done my best to enjoy all of this time of where I'm at with these last few days with my friends and everything. But I found myself struggling to really soak it up. And I'm not exactly, again, sure why that is. I think a lot of it stems from the fact that I feel like my mental state is a little bit beyond where I am now. Not saying I'm too mature for where I'm at, but I'm looking ahead. I'm looking down the road rather than what's right next to me, you know? I'm looking into the horizon instead of right at my feet. And on one hand, I think I need to pay more attention to my feet and what's going on right now, because I only have so much of it left, so I gotta value it and cherish it right now while I can. But on the other hand, everything in my life, everything that is coming next to me, all of these important things that I must do, like plan for my future, get a job, make connections, do some networking, you know, expand my portfolio, whatever you want to call it, all of these things are coming up quickly, and I must address them. So it's challenging, I think, to be focused on now while still looking ahead. But looking ahead is more fun to me. I feel like a lot of people can too quickly get caught up in the now, and I don't know. I'm just hesitating because I remember myself in high school saying almost the exact opposite, being like, I just simply can't focus on what's ahead right now. I'm just trying to get through right now, survive this current moment, get out of this current moment, and then move on with my life. And it's weird to be in just a different headspace. I wish I was doing my podcast then, and I was recording my thoughts then, even though every episode probably would have been upset and depressing and dark and not fun, because that was where I was at. But just to see the change that has been made within myself within the last 4 years is remarkable. And I think the fact that me as the individual can say that about myself without looking in a mirror, even though, I mean, if we're being honest, I've kind of been looking in a mirror for the last 89 weeks, filming this podcast every week, editing it every week, and putting it out for you guys to watch and hopefully enjoy every week. I've got a chance to take a hard look at myself here and there, and I don't know, it's just weird to feel yourself actually grow. It's weird to feel like I am ready for the professional world, because growing up, I never expected to be ready here. I never expected to really even get old or grow up or anything like that. You always just kind of think you're going to be a kid forever and ever and ever. And when you get to a point where that you realize that that's not the case, that life is going to come at you fast and is coming at you fast, you gotta think on your feet. And I just feel like I got my ducks pretty much in a row, that I can think on my feet pretty well, and I'm just in a good spot, and it's... I wouldn't quite describe it as bittersweet, but it's... I don't know. It's got an asterisk on it for sure. It's just... I feel very full in this moment. I feel very full. I feel... that my time in college is coming to an end. Hasn't come to an end, but is coming to an end. I feel that happening within my body. I feel getting closer to the actual end. But I also feel full and happy because I'm with some of my best friends. I realized that these girls that I live with, while they're not my best friends, and honestly, if I had the chance to go back and do it, I may have picked a different 6 roommates. But at the same time, I wouldn't want to pick another 6 roommates, because while these may not be my top 6 or whatever, shout out to MySpace, all of these women love me and adore me in a different way, and I love and adore them in a different way as well. And that's perhaps the most important part, that at the end of the day, we love and care for each other. We're in this house together. We spent this year together, whether I talked to them for a few days or whatever, I was really quiet this time, or there was drama in the house or whatever was going on. I know they all have my back, and realistically, in the full grand circle of life, if I were to look back on my college career, I would hope that I'm spending it with people that I love very much, that care about me, that value me, that I value, that are looking out for me and hopeful and believe in my future. And I think I have exactly that with the people I live with now. And that's really what's valuable, I'd say. Now let's finish with a brief Liverpool corner. So Liverpool FC, my soccer team, they play today. They play Villarreal, a Spanish side, in the second leg of the Champions League semifinal. They are currently up 3-1 on aggregate, meaning if Villarreal score 2 goals, it'll be tied. But Liverpool are such a dominant team that that's a tall ask to score 2 goals. Granted, it's at Villarreal in Spain, in Villarreal, which I've actually been lucky enough to go to. That's a tough place to play. They're a rowdy bunch. Even after the first leg at Liverpool Stadium in England, the Spanish fans were there for 30, 40 minutes after the game, still getting rowdy, yelling, cheering on their team, even though the game was over and they had lost. It's a big game. I think ultimately Liverpool are comfortable and in the position they are, and they're going to be all right and probably win this game. But the more important fight came in the Premier League. Apologies. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. That's a big old bee. Hey, sir. Hey, sir. Can you please get out, sir? Oh, Neil. Oh, Neil. There's a big bee over there behind the couch. You probably can't see it, but it's like one of the huge carpenter bees. Oh, God. All right, well, let's try and finish this. Earlier this week, they beat a tough side in Newcastle United, another tough place to play, and Liverpool are in a position of just get the results. Just get results. Just get the win, regardless of how you get it, whether it's 5-0 or 1-0. Get the win. And that's exactly what they did, and they won 1-0 after a Naby Keita genius little move. He was in front of the goalie and a couple defenders, and instead of taking a shot immediately, he just took a calm touch to his left, one more touch out of the way, and essentially passed it into the goal, and it was a moment of class from Naby Keita. What a guy. So they got their win. They dominated the game, as they always do, and got the result they needed. And they are still, once more, 1 point behind Manchester City with only 4 games to go, I believe. Things are coming really down to the wire. I can hear the bee buzzing behind me. I'm not a fan. I don't know what's going on. But that is all I have for this week's episode of the Procrastinating Podcast. I know it's maybe not that exciting. I didn't have a guest on, and it's sort of just me talking. It's just a monologue, and I know it's what this episode, the show has been in the past before, but it's my fucking podcast. I can do what I want to. And it's my final podcast as a college student, so I figured I would like to have a guest, but it makes sense for it to be monologue. Thank you so much for sticking with me and watching this podcast, whether this is your first week watching, or you've watched every single episode up until now. I appreciate you so much. And I will see you in next week's episode for episode 90 of the Procrastinating Podcast. See you then. I have been your host, Matthew B. Stein. You've been fantastic, as always. Peace out.